a podcast your mama warned you about. Did ya hear me?
Hello and welcome everybody. Another episode of Did You Hear Me? Sleezy here on the mic. We've got another room of mangevity tonight. Here with PackMan.
Tensions are high too.
Tension, you cut it with a knife. Got the sheriff.
Beautiful intro there.
And as everybody was brought in, I don't know if everybody put the connection for the voice for our intro, but the contributor to that, the King, is here with us tonight. King, you going to speak tonight, or are you scared I'm going to steal your voice again?
King's got a few comments that at the right time. I'll let you speak what you need to say for a second, and then I'll take over.
Well, we appreciate you being here. The other half of the Granite City Gamblers, we had Ace on a few weeks ago. Another point of contention.
Sore subject.
Yep, sore subject. Splitting them up, you know, trying to hear from them as individuals, not as Northeast Georgia's undefeated tag team, wrestling tag team. So we're trying to give you your own voice. And speaking of your voice, you brought us our drink of the week tonight. You want to tell us what you got there?
Well,
All right.
You say scared to talk.
imported all the way from the great country of Iceland. We have what here is called an Einstok. It's the European lager, or as they say on here, an Arctic lager, but a European lager. And newly 12-ounce cans, as the Europeans like to use the metric system. They were originally 11.2 ounces, not 12 ounces. So
they were trying to short the Americans.
they were, but it's definitely a European lager. It's got a little bit of a IPA taste to it, I think, but it's really cold.
Oh no.
Pretty good.
It is very cold.
It's like it came straight from the land of the ice.
Yeah,
Right.
looks like our Nordic friend on the front there.
That does.
His accent is real though.
Viking Chris on making a cameo on top of the can. All right, let's put this in our branded koozies that Crosby left with us last week.
Oh yeah, I got a little
If you want one, reach out to me. I'll get you one.
spill on aisle 3 over here. We're packing, huh? Getting excited.
Oh.
Yeah, BK, it's gonna. There you go. Told you. Tried to tell you.
The King shook him up.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. Yeah, he
Set
did.
us up there with some foam.
Mhm.
All right, that's pretty good.
Ooh, yeah.
Not bad. Not bad.
Sorry, I had a lot of cleanup to do there. That was an explosion of
Lots of
suds.
slurping going on up here.
You three are probably used to blowing your load.
Whoa,
Oh,
Jeez, here
off
we
the
go.
top rope for
Man,
the cancellation.
Well, we'll get off to
That's a load of, I don't even know.
yeah. Well,
It's a load of the Lord.
Let's go ahead and hash out the first thing. I'll go ahead and admit I did steal your voice for my intro. Our intro, sorry. I stole it though.
Your intro.
Well, I'm gonna
Yeah,
be 100% honest with you. I've protested this show since I know y'all had the other half on here, and we
Not
want to
even
talk.
mention it by name.
He's not gonna be mentioned by name, and
Man, is this a breakup?
This is a bit of beer Bob face over
me
here.
and him will have that conversation, and it might
So
end
you
up
haven't
being
even-
in the squared circle.
I was gonna
So
say,
you
settle it
haven't
in
even
the
spoke.
ring.
You haven't even spoke
and
since then?
Squared circle.
the squared
Okay.
circle, and
All right.
he knows my displeasure, and
Don't blow your load in the circle.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
it's and unlike the NCAA, I guess there is no NIL deal with this. I still haven't received any compensation
Well, I was gonna
for my
say
voice being on here.
you
So
can take that koozie home with you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll give you half of all of my earnings from this.
Yeah.
tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and say what I got to say and just get it over with, because I already see where this is going.
The compensation of zero is zero,
And-
isn't it?
You know, as many of the viewers know, a few weeks ago that the other half of the tag team, the best tag team that never was on here, and you know, you brought both of us on a few months back. Your ratings go through the roof, and so things are going good. And then
Put us on the map.
I'm scrolling through and I see, and I have to do a double take when I look at my social media, and I'm like, is that my partner on the show? And I'm looking through my phone, my text messages. I don't have any missed calls, no text message or anything. So it was obvious that I was left out of this show. And that's the King felt pretty disrespected. The King felt pretty slighted, as I deservedly so.
Good third person reference.
And so I've stewed on it a little bit, and I come to two conclusions. two ways this could have went down.
With Benedict Ace.
I had a good mind to come in here and start opening up a can of whoop ass on all three of y'all sitting here. But I got to thinking.
Yeah, you did.
I got to thinking. I said, the King's got a couple potential life-changing events coming down the pipe in the next couple weeks, and instead of being let out of here in handcuffs with 3 charges of aggravated battery, 3 charges of elder abuse, and potentially 1 hate crime, then
Ag battery. Oh.
I figure that the King let bygones be bygones. I'll accept the apology that I'm owed, and we'll get back down to business. And we can start giving the people what they tune in to look for every weekend. And that's the content that this show puts out. So,
That's very gracious of you, I guess.
Did we apologize? Did you apologize, Sleezy?
I will apologize for not, thanking him ahead of time that I was going to splice up the voice and put him on.
The intellectual property.
Yeah, because it's the first thing that the dozens and dozens of listeners hear every week when they tune in.
The intro's badass now.
Yeah,
I love it.
He wasn't even as mad about that as the knife in the top of his back from a home builder.
Yeah, apparently this is going to have to get worked out.
well, he's had a little gambler since then, so I'm giving him a little time to recover, and we're gonna hash it out, just me and him.
Bench press competition.
Yeah.
Well, he's gonna give me that one. I can't do a whole lot of. I can't do a whole lot
Shorter
of
arms.
the benching right now with. I can't go into why I can't do it. I don't want that to get out. Just in case the big government's listening. So
I heard ego. Can't bench with an ego that's hurt.
But
Doesn't have anything to do with cycling out clean, right?
it has nothing to do with that.
Okay. Just making sure. Oh, there we go. I had another explosion.
Oh, man.
An Icelandic sized explosion. Man, these are loaded.
Yeah, he's not on the Gerald pun, is he?
These Iceland, man.
Just a little tweak in the shoulder won't let me go down.
I got no
my full
answer
range
from
of motion.
Sleezy down there for being on the JR plan.
Wow. Well, these Icelandic beers had a rough ride over there. Really shook up on the boat.
Well, not as shook up as I was when I was.
Well, we hope that you and Ace can repair the relationship and get back to that tag team
I
match.
can understand how he feels being 13 minutes away and no
Here we
love.
go. Here we go. Is this Greenville? You bring it?
Greenville.
Golly.
Maybe the Hunter might feel, the King might feel like he's on Maybury Street.
And the King, when the King was riding over here, he got to thinking, there's been several times the King has brought that group that was there that night doing this podcast together, the King has brought them together multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
And then the King was just left out.
Well, you're back now. You're back. You're here. We're glad you're here.
Let's give the people the content.
I think Ag Battery would get us a few more listeners.
I really wanted you on because I was hoping you'd bring Cosmo. How's Cosmo doing? This is the King's dog. It's large. Best friend.
The one you eat hot dog bones with?
Yeah, well, we've cut out a lot of the carbs.
Okay.
Boss Erica's she's been making homemade sourdough bread lately from scratch. So we've been it's still carbs, but it's a little bit healthier. It's made from scratch, and she does very well with it actually. But now Cosmo's doing good. He's still.
Would you tell her if it wasn't any good?
I would. I'd tell her she needed to fix it.
I believe that. please.
That's good to be honest. It's good to be honest.
But she,
Where? King brought the A game today.
no, she does pretty well. But Cosmo's doing good. Cosmo had an injury not too long ago. Y'all wouldn't know because you didn't have me on here, but he him.
Tell us about it.
Well, you know, he goes to the Muddy Paws down in Watkinsville.
Yeah.
And he
It's
had
a
a
doggy
little.
daycare.
Does he have his pinky up?
He doesn't. I mean, he's pampered for sure. But he
Very affluent.
I guess him and another dog got into it, and he had a little puncture wound right here. So he didn't go to Muddy Paws for about 2 weeks.
I can relate.
Oh, yeah, you can. There's a lot of dog run-ins in your career.
Cosmo's got extra tendons.
So how? Answer me this. All right, so we have all these places around here: Pautropolis, Muddy Paws.
Mm-hmm.
We have dog parks. How are there not more dog fights? I don't understand how the dogs. Do they know they're at a place? They have to be.
So they do. I'm assuming the other ones do it too. But I know Muddy Paws, when we got him in there, they he had to go do like a temperament test.
Okay.
And so I don't think even his injury, from what I understand, it wasn't like a fight. They were just playing like dogs do, and just kind of a tooth or a nail got stuck in there. But they make them do temperament tests and
A fingernail.
all kind of stuff. So
We don't want
I don't know.
I'm just curious because I ride by the dog park all the time, and you know the public one. It's got to be just a grab bag of society. I mean, I've never been because I don't have a dog to take, and
I do know my dog. One of my older dogs did get in a fight at the dog park one time. Cost me damn near $1,000 at the UGA vet.
paying for the other dog or for your dog?
The other dog. My dog got a hold to him, and
Can also relate to that.
Yeah, yeah, PackMan. You want to share your story of?
Not particularly.
Okay.
to. Over here training dogs.
No, my dog got out of the house one time, and he liked to chase small animal squirrels and things like that. Well, anyway, there happened to be a lady walking her small dogs, and pew, out my dog went. Got a mouthful and started shaking it around. So I can't remember the exact amount. It was over $3,000 I had to pay for this lady's vet bill on her dog because Lambo tore him up.
Yeah. I don't know. Is he still alive?
No, as far as I know.
Oh yeah. Okay. Never.
Yeah.
You take that mile right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
we
you're
love to kill things off on this show, don't we?
Like Bob Vila.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bob and Lambo.
Yeah.
Lambo's still alive.
As far as I know, he was
After the 3 G's, you told him.
well, that was the first incident. There was
3
another one.
G's. Shout out to Fanny.
Oh,
Serial offender.
yeah, he was.
That wasn't the only. It wasn't an isolated incident.
No, and I got a ticket for that, so I had to show up to municipal court.
In full uniform.
And, no, I was actually told that I couldn't do that. So anyway, I show up, and the judge, who I know, was like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing here?" And I just had to hang my head down and say, "I'm a defendant." And he's looking through all his paperwork and stuff, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you are."
Yeah.
Yep, just here from a court date.
The justice system finally caught up to Pack.
Yep. So, anyway, that's my story.
It could get expensive out there, and I just don't know how there are not more incidents.
I had an incident, but it didn't make it to the G status. Shout out to Fanny. It was in the hundreds.
Okay.
But that was more of a Great Dane knockdown than it was a. The other dog had a similar injury to the Cosmopolitan gentleman, and shout out to Cosmo. One puncture, and then the woman was knocked down.
Gotcha.
But all humans escaped safely. I wasn't even there. The babysitter was there, so I had to take the word and cut the check.
Yeah.
This is with your current dog? Oh.
No, that would be a melee.
Well, I mean, you probably need to knock on wood for your unit. Y'all haven't had any incidents with the Leo dogs.
Not bite. One got loose in my neighborhood.
Yeah, not with
but it didn't
Yeah.
do anything or hurt anybody.
not with other dogs. Plenty of humans.
Well, it's a job. I meant like.
Well, accidentally as
Yeah,
well.
right.
accidental.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good thing. You better find some wood to knock on. Nah, it's plastic, but good try.
I did. There was some
wood you
dogs
could-
skedaddling by the house, and said partner was, I thought he was out there with them, because they were hooting and hollering, having a good time. And then I in a kind of very panicked voice, said his name, and so he kind of come around the corner, still in the yard.
Good dog.
And looked at me and said, like, "What up, homie?" And the dogs were losing their mind. He never even was way more concerned with the bush. That must smell like him. But the other dogs were very interested in him.
That could go a lot of ways.
It's one of his favorite bushes to mark.
His territory. I got you.
Sorry. I forgot Pack's on top of his game.
Yeah, that's
So,
right. Does the carpet match the bush? Shout out.
That's a saying that we heard one time. Somebody got a little confused.
Yeah.
Munching on it.
Yep.
So the sheriff is.
my partner does have I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
He's one of the best that I've
He
ever
is
met.
intact. And he is a gifted man. But he was not worried about the other dogs. It was some kind of shaggy dog. They kind of got the white face and the gray coat. I can't think of the name of the dog.
Okay.
Some kind of terrier and then something else. And they were dragging the woman down the road to get to
They were
the base bird.
fight. They didn't know.
But he could care less.
They didn't know he would end it.
He might.
So you're freshly back from adventure this weekend.
Sore.
You and Big Brain.
Yeah, there was a lot of Icelandic beers and
Yeah.
a lot of beer.
You went skiing, snowboarding, to be
To
exact, right?
Beach Mountain, which I didn't know was so close to Boone.
So
And
that was in
I
North
think
Carolina?
it's just north of Sugar Mountain.
So how would you rate your snowboarding skills after a full day of it?
It had been 20 years since I had been on a snowboard, and I had some success as a teenager at Wachusett Mountain in Massachusetts. Shout out to the indigenous. But Big Brain's already out of me on this, but definitely knew as soon as movement was going to be had with either 1 foot in the binding or 2, obviously you get on the human mover or the lift.
This is like a little track that moves
primary, yeah.
I saw you going into it.
Down.
I heard it did not end well.
No, it started terribly. It ended just fine.
Because according to Big Brain, they had to shut it down to rescue you.
That was the first time I got on it. But I knew with a 20-year delay, as soon as the board started moving, I was going to be on the ground.
Yeah.
But I thought the belt kept moving,
Mm-hmm.
you know, similar to like a Pilgrim's Pride scenario. And so I crawled to safety, even though the belt was stopped, because I just kicked into survival mode.
You're talking about
I thought they kept it rolling. And
so
if
you
you
thought
fell,
if you
you
didn't
fell.
move, you were just going to get trampled and
Just
wrapped up maybe
send them
underneath
next.
it.
Could have been.
The one we were on a couple weeks ago, they did keep it moving.
Yeah,
And,
I crawled.
I had to have somebody bring me a ski up there because I lost one.
Yeah, I was going to say you went skiing not too long ago.
Park
yourself
City,
there.
Utah. Shout out.
So did you do skiing or snowboarding or both?
Ski. I went skiing.
Skiing.
Yeah, Big Brain and I was snowboarding. Big Brain made it 3 hours. I'll give her some credit. But
Okay.
about 1:27 in the afternoon, she said, "Nah, not for me."
Yeah, I don't. Pack, you ever been skiing, snowboarding?
Never. Not one time.
Neither
Yeah,
have
it was
I.
definitely. There was a few extra tendons there, but it was a very normal tendon crowd.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I've never really had. I never made the opportunity to go. I don't think I would do well.
You would like the atmosphere.
The atmosphere.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a very, or as the professionals say, the après, which is an actual word.
What is a pre?
It is an actual word. So I learned this as
Sounds
an actual
French.
word. It is. It's it's APRES, and it's kind of like the ski après. It's just kind of the whole atmosphere of the ski lodge, the skiing and everything. It's just
It
like
was
what they say. It's a
Pre.
It was
Yeah,
28 degrees, and it actually snowed. I think they got 3 or 4 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a cool spot. Now I can't, no surprise with the mangevity, I have to, I guess some people that are smaller than me can just stand onto the board from the buttocks.
Okay.
I was more of a front leaning rest and then come to the knees and then to the board. And that's
That's not how you're
it's
supposed to
a
do it. I don't guess. I don't know.
it's a workout. I don't think it matters as long as you can get it up. Pause.
What matters in life.
But
get it up, keep it up.
Yeah, Big Brain also had to flip from the stomach regions and that got worn out.
Yeah.
And I think the king will agree that if you get good at it, there is that Jesus take the wheel moment where you start picking up speed. I think Big Brain could loosen the controls enough.
Yeah.
I was more of like
I've seen videos, and it looks kind of like if you get going. Even on like these public, I don't know what you call them, where everybody's at, they still can get pretty steep.
Yeah, well they have like the different categories. You have like the green, which is kind of the beginner-ish. Everybody should be able to, be pretty comfortable on the green. There's chances to go fast. You have the blue, which is a little more challenging. It can be a little more steeper. It's not as smoothed out as much. And then obviously there's the black diamonds and stuff like that.
So how does the snow compare from? So obviously you're northeast there, Sheriff, and then you've been out west skiing. I'm assuming both of y'all, obviously you just came back from North Carolina. How does the snow compare to the southern snow to the rest of the snow? Does that question make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know,
Like light and fluffy snow versus heavy wet snow kind of?
I mean, obviously I know like at the top of Georgia into North Carolina, they do a lot of man-made snow.
There was a layer of man-made
and obviously
snow.
out west in Denver and Colorado, that's
the
Lord's snow.
Yeah, it was all. I mean, in fact,
like a pillow.
It is the only thing that saved me because some of the guys I was with decided they were going to lie to me and tell me there were some green slopes on the other side where we went, and there in fact were not. And we ended up going down a black diamond, and it did not turn out well for me whatsoever. But it had just, it had to have snowed 4 or 5 feet, and it was every time you fell, it just felt like you were falling on powder. So it was
falling onto the bed with the queen.
Because I went up in Maggie Valley when they had the snow on the ground and looked at it, and it was man-made, and it did not look comfortable. Because I could see grass through it in some places.
I've done everything in my power to avoid snow for the rest of my life, so I don't have any desire to go seek it out.
In Milwaukee, I don't know.
It's not very. I mean, it's not very mountainous.
Hilly,
yeah, it's not hilly enough.
No urban skiing down the alleyways.
That's about it. That's about it.
Skiing away from the cops. I would second Pack's motion and say I don't really care. I moved here not to see snow.
Yeah.
But you could see a difference as the inches were falling from God's snow, as you call it.
Yeah.
You could kind of tell the difference between the man-made kind of foundational layer. But I think a weekend or two ago they had got 26 inches. But it does seem to be more.
That sounds miserable.
It is. That's why I have.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about
I
North
just said
Carolina.
2 feet.
I will say this though, the one thing I did notice in Park City was it was 26 degrees and stuff, but it was tolerable, if that makes sense. Like it didn't feel like a 26 degrees would feel here. And maybe it has something to do with the humidity and all that kind of stuff, but it was like
Was it sunny too?
No? Yeah, it was. It was kind of back and forth. I mean, they got a pretty good snowfall in this. It was snowing pretty much the entire time you were on the slopes and stuff like that, but the weather was, I don't know, I can't really explain it because I'm not a meteorologist, obviously, but it felt like, 26 degrees here, like I'm like freezing, and it's still cold out there, but it wasn't like it was tolerable, if that makes sense.
Well, were you not like bundled up in your?
Yeah, but really no different than I would be if I was here.
Okay.
I would just venture to say, and I'm with the king here, I'm not going to be confused with Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel at any time. But he is a
legend.
A fellow New Englander. But I think the fact that this climate is obviously different and you kind of hover around freezing, I think that's a huge deal to where maybe the snow, ice, sleet, whatever non-rain mixture is kind of melting and then freezing and then melting and then freezing, and there was some of that today because it was still snow when it was not snowing, but there was still snow on the ground when we left. And then it's going to be 50.
Yeah, when you talk about meteorologists, is this a shout out to weather being that unpredictable, or how is that profession so bad over all these years? I feel like they're bad. They just don't get the weather right.
But if you are good,
yeah,
like
they're good on like these huge fronts coming through, but like
Well, I think it's just Mother Nature. You can't.
So you're gonna
I
give
mean,
the-
you can't think you can really.
I guess that wasn't a great question. My question was, is weather that powerful that in 2024 we still can't?
Yeah, I'm with you.
We're also in an El Nino year this year too, I think. So.
And I haven't heard that since like 2000.
Yeah,
El Nino?
Yeah, it happens. It's
Hunter's
like,
over here trilingual today.
And I have some friends that are like huge, I have
French,
that
Spanish?
that are huge weather fans and like geeks, and they really tiz them out on
Pack has
these
some
fronts
for us.
coming through, and I'm just like, just tell me if it's gonna rain 2 days from now. 2 days from now.
Speaking of
Yeah.
rain, is it
Yeah,
me
it
or has
can.
it been one of the rainiest January, Februaries
It's been a lot of rain.
recently? I don't remember it raining this much in January, February in the last few years.
I have to pull up the.
Farmer's Almanac.
We'll have to get McSadness on here because he's quite a friend of nature and
Yeah, but I just feel like with
Weather.
all the technology and all the studying that we've done, especially over the past like 30 years when technology's really increased, like it can't get any better than it is, or is it better and it's still not perfect and I'm just complaining.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like because weather patterns move in a direction.
Right.
I'm assuming, right? I don't know
Right.
if that's right or not. But like if you're,
I think if you see one forming, it's going one direction.
it's going
It doesn't
one
swirl.
direction.
That's a
Yeah,
tornado.
you should be able to say this is coming this way. But I don't know. That's my very.
I just feel like
Um,
if you are good on camera,
Yeah.
you should just go be a weatherman because you'll never get held accountable for how bad you are.
I will say,
If you can stand out in the middle of the weather though, shout out Cantori, you can be famous.
yeah, Cantori is, I'm not interested in him from a romantic setting, but shout
Okay.
out to the drink of the week that is not the drink of the week because of our illustrious guest. It's just a decoration, but if you go to the Spanish channel,
I was trying to follow you.
if you go to the
Oh, okay.
Spanish
I got
channel
it.
and you watch
Yeah.
the weather,
Telemundo.
Yeah, I got you.
it is must-see television. I'll just say that.
Yeah, and why not?
Seems like it's always a little hotter. They always predict it to be a little hotter on that channel.
South of the border can.
Yeah. But why not? Because they're
Unpredictable.
going to get it wrong unless there's something to look at.
See?
Miss Garcia is one that comes to mind. Yannette.
See, the weather is so ridiculous. There's
Shout
this guy
out.
who's going viral on the gram, or maybe the talk, I don't know, one of those, because he'll introduce like rap lyrics into his forecast.
Yeah.
Because nobody cares what his forecast. It's going to be wrong, but it's cool that he put some rap lyrics in there.
So you want to know a funny kind of weather-related story that my grandfather
Yeah.
used to, when he retired from Briggs and Stratton, he got a part-time job working out at the airport, and he worked with some real not smart people. I don't know how to say that. I was going to say the R word, but I probably don't want to say that.
Canceled.
So anyway,
Intellectually challenged.
yeah, there you go. So anyway, it was pouring down rain one day, right?
Autism.
And and he's got this guy that he works with, and he's like telling him, it's not raining out there. And the guy's like, it is raining. And I can look out there, and my grandpa's like, it is not raining. Go out there and tell me, and go see if it's raining, and come back and tell me. So this guy goes out there, gets soaking wet, just to prove to my grandpa that, and he comes back in soaking wet. My grandpa's just dying laughing because he actually went out there and got
Papa
wet.
Milwaukee.
But yeah, Milwaukee Papa, he
was-
had jokes. But anyway, that's essentially like the weatherman. Like,
Yeah.
just go out there and see if it's.
What a crafty Cajun. 'Cause that's
Yeah.
where that's where the roots were, right? If I was listening correctly.
Where's Cajun? No.
It's Mississippi.
Yeah.
I thought he was from Louisiana.
No,
This
Mississippi.
is the neighbor.
Belzoni, Mississippi. is where he's from.
Belzoni, okay.
Yep.
The
Small.
deepest of the South.
Yeah, it's
some
deep.
may say.
Yep.
What's a Mississippi? Was he a rebel? Oh, we've already covered that in the mascot fight.
Yes.
We can't call him a rebel.
Well, that was, yeah. Sorry, I got to bring on my personal rant for weathermen. I just have a disdain for.
I guess
weather.
if you're good though, there's a guy, Chris Justice, in the Greenville area that I think he got so good he's not even on the local stuff anymore, and then he owns an orchard. And then Mr. Cantori.
Whatever happened to the Super Doppler 4? y'all remember that? Every
Super
time,
Doppler 4.
every time you turn on, it's like
It's on the side of 85.
Super Doppler 4.
Well, if you want to know who didn't have cable as a kid in my era, go talk about in this area. Go talk about who the sports and weather guys were on Fox 5 and the ABC channel. Like Monica Kaufman was the. Yeah, I'm just because we didn't have cable growing
Was she
up,
a
so we would
tender-
watch.
Was Monica Tenderoni?
No, she's just a well-known lady with some tendons.
Shout out to Monica. Oh,
But like,
oh, extra tendons, and
Oh,
she should
what I-
know the weather.
what I'm saying is like you watched your local news when I was growing up, especially if you didn't have cable, because you could get it on the antenna. On the old antenna, you turn it a little bit, smack the TV, and it would come on. And I've had several conversations randomly. This is a very random topic, sorry, where we talked about like Jeff Hollinger was a sports guy for Fox 5, and now he's on ABC. Yeah, we just knew these people because we watched them.
Like they were in your living room.
Yeah, it was a different time, you know. And then Dan Rather would come on afterwards for the World News, and Peter Jennings. Like you just knew these people because it's the only channels we got.
I had some rabbit ears in Massachusetts.
Yeah. All
I was
right.
in trouble with Pops Turner. I'd have to stand there and hold it.
There you go. Well, very random. Let's move on. We had a couple questions this week.
Showing
It's
our
actually-
oldness.
it's actually
Talking
very-
about the weather.
Yeah, very interesting because a couple things came out this week to do with NIL, which is a never-ending topic. The name, image, likeness for college football athletes, and one of the questions that Secret Beverage Tilly wanted to know for the King is if we had.
Is he still in Ireland?
He's back, I think. Hopefully.
He's like a fun trip.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Secret Beverage Tilly and his fiance took a very nice trip over to Ireland and shared a lot of photographs, and it felt like I was there. Anyways, he wanted to know if we had an NIL deal for you using your voice, and I've already said we gave you a koozie, so there you go. But we also had some questions on related to the NIL. NCAA football.
That answer is no, by the way. I do not have an NIL deal. So.
You got a koozie. It's a thing.
And I still had to pay for my t-shirts. So.
Oh man, really dropping bombs. Let me get back to what I was about to ask. NCAA football 25. We've mentioned the college football game is coming back out this summer that everybody's super excited about. They came out with their NIL deal for everybody. They're going to give every that signs up $600 and a free copy of the game. I guess, would you take it, number one? And number two, is that fair?
The player is getting
$600 any
If
game.
they sign on the line to have their name used in the game and their body type created to look like them.
Yeah, I saw this where the players.
Do you think it's a
or
good deal?
The teams were releasing who has already done it.
For
Yeah.
the, how many college football players are there? 11,000 per.
Yeah, there's a ton. There's
for-
like 100 for each school.
Yeah,
and
for the
there's
10
135 teams.
For 10,000, for
Yeah.
probably 10,500 of the 11,000,
It's a lot of math.
It's a great deal. There's
Right.
probably some that, you know, it's not such a great deal for, you know, like
So
the
let's
biggest
take-
of the big
Yeah,
names.
so
but
let's localize it. So
But
you're
it's not
probably
like
talking about a Carson Beck. He's the star quarterback of UGA, who's going to be ranked number 1 going into next year. You're saying for him, it's probably not.
I don't think it's a bad idea though. I mean, he has nothing to lose.
right, yeah, I mean, he
It's
has
just
nothing to lose, but he also, I don't know, could he leverage that, you know, for more? I don't know, you know, but you're getting paid $600 and getting a free game to do absolutely nothing
Right.
different than you'd be doing anyway.
And it's so cool to be in a game.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you were going to start having folks try to leverage to get more, that game would never come out.
Right.
Because it would be just an ongoing battle. And I mean, it's just.
Yeah, there's probably opportunity for like a cover athlete to get more. Like if they start doing like
Yeah,
Madden does,
right.
the cover athletes.
Yeah.
Is there a curse though?
Ooh, we'll have to see.
I
starting
bet
out.
you they won't put an athlete on the cover of it because of that.
Probably.
Or they'll put like a Nick Saban or something like that.
That's a
on the
good
cover.
point. He's not associated with anybody
That's
anymore.
why he retired.
Yeah. I thought it was a fair deal. I mean,
Get on the job.
even if you're let's just say you were the most talked about college athlete. So last year it was probably Caleb Williams going into the season.
Or Shador Sanders.
Yeah, okay, but whoever. Pick one of those that are well known, have a well known social media following, make tons of money off. This is just one thing. $600 to be in the game that you're going to be in forever, and a copy of the game. I mean, hey, give me $600. Just give me the game. I think, and obviously for the backup players, it's a no-brainer.
Right.
You get to be in the game.
That system's going to crash the day that comes out.
Oh, it's
there's no way they're going to be able to keep up with the demand.
That's got to be the most anticipated video game release, maybe ever. I don't know. I don't know about ever, but it's one of the ones.
It'll probably be up there with like the first Call of Duty, or I don't know. anything
Well, it
about
was one of the most popular video game franchises, and then it just got taken away because of the issue that we're talking about right now.
We're getting canceled.
Yes.
CNN and Scott Bobby. Well, we're already canceled by Scott Bobby, but video games I don't think is in our wheelhouse, but it is in a lot of people's.
This is not a, yeah, that's
It's not
correct.
a video game review.
No, and it's not a video game that's very, this is like something that spans.
My apologies, trying to find something comparable is
I
not in
got
our
you,
wheelhouse.
I got you, correct. I don't know.
Because I don't even know what the first Call of Duty was, and I should know.
Yeah, but this transcends like a lot of things because you got people that used to play video games that are actually excited. I've heard several people say they're going to get some system just to play this game. They don't have a system currently. So I mean, I think it just like has more far-reaching power than any other video game, especially recently.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was a big deal.
That was
And Crash Bandicoot. That was back when I was playing games.
Fact, we could play as Wee Man.
Oh yeah.
From Jackass.
Wee Man, yep. I remember Wee Man.
The King's hit his limit.
Yeah. We all
explicatives or whatever Pat called it last week.
were y'all Jackass fans? The show?
Oh yeah, have y'all seen Jackass 4.5 on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
Is that the one that came out during the Rona?
Yeah, it's the newest. It's good. I mean, it's Jackass. I mean, so it's kind of the same, but it's still funny.
I was a huge fan when it came out on MTV.
There was some stuff that came out, I guess Mad World, or what was that, E-Bombs World. There was some spin-offs that were trying to catch some steam that were pretty good too. Nothing comparable, but I guess that was what The Bachelor is now, or reality TV, or podcasting. That's what do you even call what they do on Jackass? Pranks?
Yeah, it was pranks, but with
Like dangerous pranks.
It was just like crazy stunts.
Dude, there's not enough money in the world that you're gonna put me in a porta potty that's filled with what it's filled with, and you're gonna slingshot me into the air. All that stuff.
That was an interesting crew though, because Johnny Knoxville was the star of that show. He's was the main stunt guy on there, and he turned into an actor, like a famous actor doing Hollywood movies.
Not a bad one, either.
Yeah, and then you had Steve-O, who was on the show intravenously through an IV getting vodka put into his veins.
You know, he's sober now.
Yeah, and he obviously was on drugs, had to have been to be doing stuff like that, and now he's totally sober. And then you have Bam Margera, who was he was a semi-pro skateboarder, maybe
he was
pro.
a professional. He's
Very
not
good.
Sober.
No,
I thought he died. Is he still alive?
Still alive.
Yeah.
He did a spin-off on his own show, continued using drugs, turned into hardcore drugs.
Yeah, the one with his dad.
Yeah, Phil was his dad, the big,
Yeah,
large guy. And then
Phil.
now Bam is, last I heard, he was doing court-ordered rehab, and then went on the run, and they were looking for him, and like he's.
Well, that one guy died, and he went like.
That was
Ryan,
Adam Dunn.
Ryan Dunn. Adam Dunn
Ryan
was the
Dunn.
baseball player.
Killed off another one.
Adam Dunn might be dead too. I don't know.
No,
Gotta check.
No, he's alive. Strikeout king.
The big donkey.
Yeah. Ryan Dunn died in a car wreck. Anyway, it was interesting to follow that cast because they were so crazy, and then they all ended up in different spots.
We've gone on some tangents.
Adam
That's what we
Dunn,
do, man.
44 years old, still alive.
I saw a stat where Tony Gwynn struck out less in the 90s than Adam Dunn did in like 2004 or something like
That's
that.
crazy. There was also a stat on Tony Gwynn. It was like if he went like 0 for the last
Like 1100.
1100, he would still have over a 300 batting
Yeah,
average.
Tony Gwynn was something else.
The stat where it's him against Smoltz, Pedro, Greg Maddox, and someone else, and he had 3 total strikeouts.
Correct.
And I think Smoltz is the one, going back to your who has cable TV, because they know the commentators and everything.
Yep.
Obviously, John Smoltz is a Fox Sports guy. And I
Yep.
believe he's the one that brought it up on air, and then I went on a tangent. And that's amazing, because Smoltz never struck him out. The other 3 got
No.
1 each.
Have I told my John Smoltz story on air about Mama Sleezy? Go ahead and call her out. I know she's listening, so she's probably going to turn red and call me and say, why did I tell this story?
Did she date John Smoltz?
No, she hates John Smoltz.
Hates
Really?
him.
Hates him. Loathes him.
Why?
Because there was a story on Fox 5 when I was a child that John Smoltz lived in this neighborhood in Atlanta, and he sued his neighbor because they built their house and it started shading his swimming pool.
Surprise!
pretty good reason to hate somebody. I just pretty douchey.
That's a true story.
Well,
And
Doc Holliday would have a ball with that.
And she, to this, I don't know about to this day, but I remember back then, oh goodness.
Oh, slur out. We got an Icelandic emergency.
There it is.
I remember back then she was hot about it. And Mama Sleezy didn't get hot about a lot, but she was not a fan of John Smoltz. She thought it was petty.
She's right. I'm with you, Mama Sleazy. You're right. That's
Rich people problems.
Right, yeah. Like, come on. You are, well, I don't know what your salary was back then, but significantly more than everybody else.
Suit his neighbor.
Yeah.
I don't know who won. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, look at the stat guy.
I'm looking at it.
Have to go to the clerk of court. I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah,
I saw a video.
up.
Saw a video on Greg Maddox since he was mentioned the other day. Apparently, he had this thing for like peeing on his teammates.
Yeah, I've heard several stories. One of them was
Kind of weird, but it's
Yeah.
he would like he was just like people being like the jacuzzi, like doing their recovery, and he just walked up to it and start peeing in the jacuzzi.
Well, I think the particular one you're talking about was Andre Dawson, the Hawk, and 2 other black players on the Cubs when he came up. And he said, "You ever seen a white guy make 3 black guys run away from him?" And they were in the jacuzzi, and they said no. And he just started peeing, and they all got up and ran. And he said, "Now you have something of that nature." And then another one in the shower, he was got this guy into conversation, and everybody knew what he was going to do. They were watching because I guess it's back in the '90s when everybody just showered together.
Right.
And
they don't do that no more. I had to when I played college football, so it's still a thing.
Community shower. I have been in the community shower.
we know Doo-Doo Donaldson. And,
No, that was a private shower that became public.
It's another tangent, but I've never had to use a community shower.
I was not the star
Of course, I didn't play football. I've heard it's real prevalent in football locker rooms.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's finish the story about Greg Maddox. He had the guy in conversation. The guy was really talking to him, and then he looked down and felt something warm on his leg, and it was Greg Maddox peeing on him.
I don't know how he didn't end up with like a broken jaw.
Yeah. It's Greg Maddox.
I don't.
And back to the community showers. I have never been in a sports environment where I had to
Maddox
use
is
a
on
community
the
shower.
spectrum a little bit.
He is a little bit. I've seen interviews.
He's definitely Tisman out. The Sullivans were the neighbors, and the Smoltz lost their claim.
Oh, there you go, Mama Sleazy. He did not prevail.
Some closure. We got some closure.
We're giving a shout out to the business journals. I have to pay for the full article.
Okay, so we don't
But
get all
the
the
date
details.
here is October of 1996. So that was to
Timeline
Pack's
matches
point.
up.
He was making a lot of dough because
That time.
they had just won it
the
in
World Series.
'95, correct?
Well, another little Smoltz thing that might send Mama Sleazy up in a tizzy was
Sandra.
I actually did not get to play in this tournament. I forgot where I was at, but we did my travel ball team back in the day. They played in the Smoltz Grissom Woodbat tournament that Marquise Grissom and John Smoltz put on together.
Yeah.
And apparently Grissom and Smoltz were, it's their tournament. You got a bunch of kids out there, but they were just kind of didn't want to really interact with the kids, and it's kind of nose in the air type of thing.
Man.
So
We've got it. 4th person here.
Yep.
Like in 4th. You weren't there in 1st person. So
no,
you've
it's
heard
not.
from
But
other
that's what my coach, the coaches at the time were saying.
Smoltz.
I believe it.
Smoltz and Mariano Rivera, and we're out in all of them.
This is an anti.
Bunch of snobs.
Yeah. We're calling him out. John Smoltz. I'm sure he's going to hear about this.
I don't think we said Frenchie was a snob last week, though.
We didn't.
Just,
We accused him of doing the toot, which is not true. And
You don't know that.
that's.
Good Christian man.
I don't know that, but I don't know that he does.
That's how he lost the weight.
Maybe so.
Sign me up, Frenchie.
Are they just for decoration or?
No, they're
Dig
all
into
yours,
them,
man.
Ken.
Yeah.
Yannick Garcia sent him.
The king is talking about these Modelo's at the sheriff brought.
Just to prove.
And this is, hey, we'll go right into it since the Modelo has been cracked into the #1 wine, sending a question.
There we go.
Very
okay,
random.
good
I don't know what he was thinking while he was drinking his Modelo.
Yeah.
But he wanted to know how far can the human eye see?
Oh man, too many factors to take it. So you're talking flat ground.
So
I mean, we can see the moon. So
I think the human
pretty
eye,
far.
I think the human eye can see indefinitely. But
If
we don't
there's-
have, because we can see a star.
Yeah, if there's no obstruction, nothing in the
Yeah.
way, no
Well,
cloud.
yeah, and there's definitely the whole like
Yeah.
you can see for miles if you're
Right.
somewhere it's flat.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
He
so
must
how
have been absolutely hammered to send this
You
question
see-
in.
But
Yeah.
but what is amazing is how, you know, what is a perfect vision for a human is 2020 or whatever. But you know, you talk about like hawks and eagles
Yeah.
and stuff, and they got what, like 2060, 20, and like what we can see at 20 feet, they can see just as clearly at 60, 70 feet.
Shout out to Norm. We had a red hawk sighting on a when our services were provided to the king. We saw a squirrel was in grave danger, and Captain Norm called out a red hawk. If you remember, on the branch, King.
So
I
he
do
saw a
remember
bird.
that. Yeah, it was.
I guess.
It
Yeah.
was anticlimactic. The squirrel survived.
Well, you saw a red hawk then.
Beautiful animal.
So I guess the human eye, though, at some point the clarity is not there, because if I'm standing on a mountain that you can see, you can't see me. Correct?
You're talking about like
Right.
the distance distortion factor.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, because I guess you could see me.
I wouldn't know it was you, but I could see the form of a human.
But if I was on a star, you couldn't see me. You just see the star.
Right, like, yeah, so we can see, I don't know what planets we can
This is
see up
like-
there, but yeah, if you were on
Way more
Jupiter,
Deeper. This is deeper than I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be.
if you were on
Need to be way
Jupiter, I could see
drunker.
Jupiter glowing, but I
Yeah.
couldn't see you on, so I don't know how to answer that question. You
So
can
it-
see pretty far, but maybe you can't make out fine details.
So is
very
that the
far.
eye seeing it, or is it
Oh my god,
stars?
dude, you're
The
getting...
stars projecting so far into our line of sight?
Ooh, conspiratorial.
So this is what Google says
Google.
from the Optical Academy.
We got a new stat guy.
The human eye can see up to millions of miles away, considering the circumstances and factors.
Okay, all right. So that's what we were
It's a
saying.
Classic non-answer.
Yeah.
Now this, from Helpline, says based on the curve of the Earth, standing on a flat surface with your eyes about 5 feet off the ground, the furthest edge that you can see is about 3 miles away.
Well, that makes sense.
But that would be looking out.
Yeah, because, because
Yeah.
the Earth is, to some people, not flat.
Oh, the number one
No,
line.
I'm in, yeah. Send us that question. One, is the Earth flat? That needs to be the next. Man, I'm way too sober to be discussing any of this.
Yeah.
But I do like that last answer because it gave you, it subscribed all the variables and then gave you an answer.
The other night I went on a flat Earth deep dive.
Oh, you're
I'm not on their side. I just wanted to know what they thought because I'm interested in the other side.
some
They-
counter surveillance.
Yeah, they are.
They're out there.
They're out there. This one guy.
Like, are they out there, or you just mean they're present?
Them and Greg Maddox, they're on the spectrum.
Because the question to everybody who's a flat earther is how can you like fly around the world and sail around the world? And they always come up with this answer that you can't. Because
What do you mean you can't?
they say you can't. It's flat. But so
So you're
say-
just going point A to point B?
This
You're
one
not
guy
really
went
going-
with this huge conspiracy theory that Antarctica is heavily guarded. It's one of the most guarded places on Earth because it's the edge of the wall. And so they don't want people going down.
Is Antarctica really guarded?
According to this guy, I don't know, he's convincing.
That's the end.
Yeah.
You just fall off. But what do you fall into?
No, it's like another.
Like a green screen?
Well, kind of, again, he was out there. It's like another realm.
Was it pin on somebody too? Like one of our favorite right-handed pitchers?
No, I don't know. They're just, of course, the viral clip. I'm sure y'all have seen it on Instagram. Is the flat earthers? They set up the.
With the flashlights and the holes?
Yeah. They set it up apart. And they're like, all right, if we
Yeah.
to prove this, when we shine this light through, it'll like hit this other because it's a level ground that they're
Yes.
on.
I haven't seen this, but
Yeah, and
That's good.
they shine the light
I'll have to
through,
look at
and
it.
because of the curvature of the Earth, it hits below the hole,
Yeah.
whatever. It doesn't.
They had to adjust
Yeah.
for the curvature of the Earth.
And they were like so deflated when
Yeah.
it happened. They were like, oh.
Yeah.
And this was all on
but
camera.
they're still believers.
It's a huge following. I mean, if you read, there's you could spend hours as I did reading about the flat earthers.
Okay.
You really want to go through a deep dive? Let's talk about aliens.
I want Alien Ricky to come on and
Yeah,
really get
He
into
was
it.
there for he was also there for the Red Hawk
because
sighting.
it's the more the federal government declassifies, the weirder the alien thing is getting.
Yeah. Look, you want to hear my UFO experience?
Go ahead.
So, and this is no joke. I always would make fun of UFO Ricky, and he until I was in Afghanistan. And now, again, I don't necessarily believe in aliens, but I do know UFOs.
With Bob Lee Swaggart, or who was the guy you were with?
Yeah.
Jim Bob Stubbe.
No, that was the first one. This is the second one.
Okay.
Anyways,
Jim Bob.
Yeah,
Thanks
Jim
for
Bob
your service.
Anyway, so it was probably 5, 6 o'clock. So the sun's going down, but you can still see, right? You can still see pretty well. And there were tracer rounds going back and forth the whole time. But tracer rounds, red and green.
Okay.
Well, I'm looking up, and I see this white light. And it's coming towards me. And I'm like, a couple of my buddies, I'm like, y'all see this? And so I got 3 or 4 other folks that were like looking at it. We're all looking at it like, it's coming towards us, this white light. All of a sudden, stops, splits into 2. So you got the one stays in the middle, 2 other lights like split off of it, and just disappears.
I'm not laughing at you. That was the end of the story. Okay.
Well, I mean that was it. But so that kind of solidified. Like, obviously, I think there are UFOs, and I think that. Well, but I also think that, look, here's the thing. In as a chaotic situation as what was going on over there, if you're going to have some type of military tech or anything like that, that's going to be the time you test it out, because nobody's going to really think twice about it.
Sure.
So I think you start to see, that's where you get a lot of your UFO sightings, and some probably accidental sightings, and I think it's a lot of military tech and stuff like that. But
yeah, there was one of them with some fighter jets, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Recently that got declassified. So I'm with you. Or maybe they're just. This sounds terrible, but maybe they're coming to see the show. I would much more believe that they would be going to active combat than they would go to the Miami Mall.
So you're saying because of like a TV show you don't want to watch?
I'm not saying
Paint
combat. We love everyone here. Did you hear me? We want to preserve life.
But they want to see things going on.
But they want to see some chaotic experiences. And I would imagine that's one of them.
Yeah. Well, we need to have Alien Ricky on to get us. He's the authority that I know, and so even though you saw it with your own eyes, there, King, I don't know if you're an authority on it.
I'm not an authority. I'm just saying they're out there.
He's a believer.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah. Well,
we're gonna steal that intellectual property too.
So we got another question here. CNN, and I don't know how he thinks we would know the answer to this, and again, I don't know why. I don't know enough. Oh, I understand this question now. The over/under for the number of wins for the softball teams. I totally misread his question earlier, and now I know what it is. So he's referring to the softball teams. I hope so.
Got it.
That he coaches. He coaches the in our local league here. He coaches a co-ed team.
The Enforcers.
Yeah, the ACC PD Enforcers.
Oh,
the
God,
co-ed and the men's team.
There it is.
That's the name of the team. If you go on the website, that's what it is. So he wants to know the over/under for the number of wins. The co-ed team
How many games are there?
There's 8 or 9.
I was gonna say in the teens,
Play
but
this
I was
No, it's not that many.
You playing this one?
The men. So traditionally, the men's team has gotten better. Not traditionally. Here over the past couple of years, the men's team, to me, has improved.
Which is traditionally.
I'm gonna go tell you, the last game I played in, none of y'all 3 were there, and so it was not an improvement.
Oh yeah,
The normal amount of attendance was there, and it was bad.
The co-ed team, I don't think we won a game last season.
No team speed.
So I will say the over/under is going to be more wins than last season for the co-ed team.
So 1.
Yes,
So,
correct.
or a point.
All right,
a half a
set-
win.
Yeah, well, we
Gotta
got to
take the
set it
over.
at. Okay, so we're setting it at minus 1.5
I think we'll be over the co-ed team.
or minus
Yeah, well,
0.5.
0.5.
Yeah, we'll make it challenging. I think it's.
I'm gonna go
minus-
+2.
Plus
I'll give you
2
2.
for the co-ed team.
for the
Plus
co-ed
2.
team.
Yeah.
First game tomorrow.
See, I think
19:30.
I think there's going to be a lot of push on that because there's a good possibility we win 2 games the whole season.
2 and 6. That's what you got.
Yeah, after 2 and 7, whatever it is.
Okay,
The problem
I'll take
is
+2.
that I have seen in the softball league is that the teams that enter get younger, and we have the same team that does not get younger.
This is true.
And with a co-ed softball team, you live and die by the strength of your female players.
100%.
To an extent, like your number 5, so you have 5 and 5 in the lineup usually, 5 girls, 5 guys. To your weakest guy as well.
I like 5 guys.
Whole slew of rules.
Restaurant.
Good French fries.
So
Whole slew of rules where you gotta alternate genders.
yeah, and what I have seen over the last season is that our girls are solid, but the other girls seem to get younger. Trying to be as politically correct as I can in this answer. It's just, you can't battle age, you can't battle 24-year-old co-eds that just got done playing college ball and all that kind of stuff.
We live in a college town, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just a lot of athletic
Full
girls
of
on the other
physically
team.
active
Father Time
individuals.
was undefeated.
Yeah, no doubt.
He
no
is.
doubt.
He is.
Now the men's team, I don't know what the record was. Do you remember, Pat? Last season?
Playoff bound.
Yeah, we went to the playoffs.
So at least 4 games,
Well,
5 games out of the 8 or 9.
The men's team has been to the playoffs the 3 seasons.
In a lower division, but it's still there.
Yeah. And again, I think it comes down to
How about
Well-
a +6?
that's an under.
Yeah.
I like the book. The books. The books are sitting pretty on that one.
Yeah, that's a easy for me to take the under on that.
+5.
Yeah, I think +5 is a
+5. Okay, you heard it here first.
5 wins being what you would bet on is a pretty.
So that would
How many
be
games is it?
6 and
It's
3.
like,
Eight
it's
or
at
nine.
least 8. I think it's 9 because you play a doubleheader one night.
6 and 3. I like that. That'd be playoff bound
Yeah.
again.
I don't think I'm going the under on 5 or 5.5.
Oh,
I guess.
Have y'all been in any of the practices?
I went to one.
Was that,
I went to the first
was
one.
it any like new people out there that?
No, not really.
We got a mustachioed male.
Oh yeah, what's
Very
that kid's
skinny.
name? I don't know. Yeah, some
Mr.
skinny.
Bobby P.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen him play. Yeah, it's just one of those things where
our team
we like the people that play on the team, so it's not like a real competition to replace anybody on the team. It probably should be, because I should probably be replaced, because my arm is still back in my 30s. Now that I'm 40, I haven't had an arm to be able to throw the ball far in a couple of years.
That would be like Jesus leaving the Bible.
I'm just saying,
I
it should
finally
be.
gave out.
There should be somebody who should be able to take my spot. That's all I'm saying. But we don't really do it like that.
And
'Cause
for
we
all
like,
the
we like
haters.
the people we play with.
Right.
For all the haters that say it's just a ball coming in at 10 miles an hour, come on out, give it a whirl.
Give it a
You
whirl.
might
I do
pull
believe.
an Aaron Rodgers.
I have said this though, that I do believe if you could go throughout our work environment and pull and pull the people you want to pull out there, we could probably field a pretty good team.
Yeah, if everybody had the time. Yeah, it's correct. If you had to go pick the best athletes. That's how it was when I was in high school. Our baseball team was terrible because a lot of the good players didn't want to miss spring practice of the football.
Yeah.
Catch on what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Here
So
we
if
go.
you'd have gone, and I played rec ball with a lot of those guys, and if they'd have played high school ball, we'd have had a way better team than we did.
What
Gotcha.
he's saying, do you want to translate that for the listeners back?
Well, I think we touched on it last week or the week
Probably,
before.
yeah.
Yeah, just it's
Well, for the Crosberry's football team, there's a lot of their seasons going on. So
That's we did
Yeah.
hit on it.
yeah.
This has been an underlying theme for all 21 legal drinking age episodes.
well, also to stay on the tangent of my hometown baseball team, we had a private school, a very small town, but private school and a public school, and so everybody kind of went their different ways, and with sports too. So if we'd have had like my little league team continued together
Okay.
up through high school and had all the best athletes in the town, we'd have had a much better team.
Well, that's the synergy of playing together too. But
Well, that too, but it's just like we had a couple of good athletes, but they also had the same problem at the private school, and also to some extent on the football team, they had a certain group. It's like people didn't change groups.
I believe Pack hit on this in several episodes. But if an African American individual is going to play a sport, they are going to be very damn good at it.
And, it,
Well, not
and they're,
just not
and they're
gonna play.
usually not playing baseball.
Correct.
Nowadays. And yeah, we talked about it extensively a couple weeks ago now.
So far, I won't go as far as disc golf, shout out to Secret Beverage, but softball, any sport I've been involved in, if there is consistent attendance from a member of the community, they are one of the best players, if not the best out there.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Write it down.
I got you. Your partner Ace sent in a question. This is kind of centered towards you.
Who?
There, King. Yeah.
Oh, new phone, who's this?
He wanted to know he said 5, you can do 3, however you want to do. Professional wrestlers of all time.
Ooh, that's a good one.
5? I can do 5.
All right.
Val Venus.
Hello, ladies.
I got a feeling I know who number 1 is.
Well, I've actually been watching. Look, there's no secret how much of a fan I am of this, but I've been watching my Instagram reels lately, and it's a lot of like who's your Mount Rushmore of wrestling, and I like 5, and I think number 1 has to be Ric Flair. And I know
I agree.
that
He transcends wrestling. He's like
I had a different number 1 for the King.
well, look. Some of these aren't going to be in a particular order, but number 1 has to be Ric Flair.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's he and
The Nature Boy.
UFO Ricky will appreciate that. He's a huge Ric Flair fan.
Ric Flair was bigger than wrestling in some respects.
He was.
But he also was very good in the ring as far as being a wrestling partner with whoever he was paired with.
And then number 2, or again, no particular order, but number 2, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
3, I'm gonna go with The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
I was way off.
4, I gotta say Shawn Michaels.
Okay, I knew you were gonna have them in there.
Man, God,
Who are you gonna leave off, man? Because there's.
I know. I hate to only be able to do 5 because I could do an easy top 10. Like just off the top of my head, top 10. But for 5, so who I got?
The
Flair.
question was 5?
Yeah, Flair, Austin,
Rocky Maivia.
Rock.
The Rock, Shawn Michaels. And man, dude, it's almost a 3-way tie, and I'll tell you who the 3-way tie is, and then I'll give my answer.
Okay.
My 3-way tie.
3-way. Pause.
Well, my 3-way tie is going to be Hogan,
Yeah.
The Undertaker, and Bret Hart.
Okay.
Man, my pick wasn't even in there.
And I gotta say,
I gotta know who yours is.
He knows who I was gonna pick for him.
and I gotta say that between those 3,
Taker.
man, I gotta go Hogan. Because if you look at the history, dude, I love The Undertaker, and The Undertaker is, an absolute, the most consistent guy in the WWF throughout the WWE, when they were the WWE. But Hogan was 30 to almost 40 years of just relevance. And him doing what he did to Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 just kind of, that kind of skyrocketed Vince McMahon, and which he's probably taboo to say nowadays,
Boy.
but that kind of skyrocketed and took it over. And I got to go Shawn. And the reason I say Shawn Michaels, and I'm sorry, I could talk about this for an hour. But
It's interesting you have Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. In
so
same sense.
look, my uncle, who's also was a wrestling fan back in the day when the Attitude Era or whatever, he made a statement one time that I agree with. That Montreal screw job, in my opinion, for those who know what I'm talking about, saved the WWF. They were not doing very good at the time. Bret Hart was leaving to go to WCW. WCW was dominating. They were on the upcoming, and of course, you got the whole Monday Night Wars and everything. But
yeah, they didn't want him to take the title with. They didn't want him to leave.
They did not want to, and they did it in Montreal,
Yeah.
and all the controversy. There is no doubt in my mind that saved the WWE. But Shawn Michaels, the greatest in-ring performer of all time.
WCW was getting big with like the earthquake and all that, wasn't it?
Well, they were big. I mean, they were getting big. They had Scott Hall and they had Hogan and they had Kevin Nash come over. They started the NWO.
Kevin Nash.
You know, you had Goldberg with his undefeated streak.
UJ Grant.
And it just kept getting more. It was who could outdo each other, and that's what made it great TV. It's like you had one would set the plateau, and the other would have to, transcend it.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up being. Dude, I've listened to so many podcasts on this. I could do a whole 3 hour. But I am curious. Who did you think I was gonna say?
I had the American Dream in there.
Look, man, I love some Dusty Rhodes. I love Dusty Rhodes for sure. Son of a plumber.
I don't think he had as much of a tenure as some of those other
He
guys.
did,
but it was on the local, well, not local, regional circuit.
The regional circuits, but a lot of folks don't realize a lot of WCW's bookings during that Monday Night Wars was Dusty was doing the bookings for them, and so a lot of their matches, a lot of their talents was Dusty does not get a lot of the credit for that.
So he was almost like a man. Was this a manager before or during?
No. So he was not necessarily a manager. He was in charge of the booking. So he would book the matches. Who was going to do who?
And he's wrestling too.
He was kind of past his wrestling days at the time. He would make some in-ring appearances, whatever. But yeah, man, that's my top 5. I know there's a couple of them there that he wouldn't agree with. But those are my 5.
WrestleMania
I think
3.
you named all the names that I was going to name.
Pontiac Silverdome. That's cool. I think the attendance there is under scrutiny.
Yeah, Dusty Rhodes did a commercial in my hometown for Horton Homes. It was a mobile home manufacturer. That's what it was the huge industry in the town. And he did a commercial, and I thought it was the coolest thing. He did a commercial for them.
Computer replaced you, Daddy.
Oh yeah. He's got some one-liners, man.
Yeah, I should have asked this question earlier while we were talking about NIL, but I didn't want to leave Booty Meat out about that NIL stuff we were talking about. But I should have put them all together. It's my bad host. So Tennessee and Florida State got dinged because they used NIL during their recruiting. Some athletes, you want to know if it should be used during recruiting.
I don't know how you get around it.
I don't see how it's not. Basically, what I understood, the violation that Florida State made was they drove, and I actually think it was a UGA.
It was a Marius Mills.
He was a transfer. He was in the transfer portal, which means he was looking for another team, and he went down there to visit them to see if he wanted to leave UGA for Florida State, and they drove him to a representative from a collective to get his NIL deal. Yeah. And apparently that's taboo. You can't do it, and
that's the whole where do you draw the line?
Exactly.
Right? Like it's gonna get until you have a set rules that or a set of rules for it.
Yeah, and
I don't know where you.
I think the attorney general that sued the NCAA or did the injunction or whatever to basically put on pause these sanctions against these two schools made the argument like, where do you draw the line at? It's like legal. NCAA is trying to keep power is what they're trying to do because it's related to money because they kind of control a lot of things right now. And I don't know how much longer the NCAA is going to be able to hang on to anything the way they're acting.
They're going to have to put and look, I've said several times that they're never going to obviously listen to me, but this is just my 2 cents that I believe there should be a cap on NIL money. I believe there should be. I don't think you should be allowed to get it right away. I think you should have to be there a full year. You get it. Your sophomore, you also think you need to maintain a certain GPA before you're allowed to receive your NIL money.
You're getting really harsh on these guys.
And I also believe when it comes to the transfer portal, you get one free transfer, and that's it. You get one free one, and then the only way you get to get another transfer where you can play right away is either some just crazy situation or a coaching change.
Yeah.
Because it's just.
Yeah, well, I think they have some of those rules in place now. Like if you have a coach change, you can transfer past you have 30 days.
You can, but it's crazy because look what happened with Alabama. Nick Saban retires, and you got these teams are just poaching on Alabama's players.
Yeah, they've got to regulate it somehow because I was thinking about this the other day. This has to do with the I can't even think of the name of the league, the golf league that was created, the Saudi Arabians. Yeah, the Saudi Arabians, they have, and I was watching something else on them, they have so much money. So what if one of their kids goes to just UGA and falls in love with football, and then the collective has access to the Saudis' money? You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll pump, they're overpaying because they're so bored, they have so much oil money, and they want to, like, watch things and gamble on things and all that kind of stuff.
Start a baseball league too, Baseball United.
Yeah, they have a bunch of old, washed out baseball players that have name recognitions. They have something else to watch.
Robinson Cano is the...
Yeah, they have so much money. So what if one of their sons comes over here, loves football, and then gets in the collective, and now UGA has $1 billion to dole out? Like, who can compete with that?
Well, I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
That's why.
And again, at the end of the day, it comes down to coaching and all that kind of stuff on the field. But if you're getting more, as the sheriff likes to say, Jimmys and Joes,
Oh, yeah.
because you have all this money, you just have bukus of money to give out, way more than anybody else. I mean, they've got to put a cap on it at some point, or some regulation, because it could really get out of hand pretty quick. Kind of already has.
Well, and I think the NIL is one of the reasons why. And I thought about this. I thought this question might come up when you talk about Georgia hiring James Coley as their new wide receivers coach once. And I think one of the reasons why Brian McClendon left was because you're going to see it more in the coaching, in college coaching, is they don't want to deal with the NIL. They don't want to deal with having to go recruit players, and the first thing the players say is, well, how much money can I get?
Right.
And I think
when they've done nothing yet.
Yeah, and I think one of the whole reasons of hiring James Coley, I know the Georgia fan base was, we want Hines Ward. And look, I like Hines Ward. Obviously, the emotional part of you is like, he'd be great, but you were having to hire just absolute elite recruiters because they're having to balance that, being able to be an elite recruiter plus being able to go and say, hey, this is what we can do for you or whatever. It's a mess in my opinion. I don't like it.
I don't see a guy like Hines Ward who is a quote-unquote old school. I don't see him having a lot of patience with that because I hated that dude because obviously he was on very competitive Pittsburgh Steelers team squaring off on the evil empire New England Patriots, but that dude left it all out on the field and played at a very high level, extremely undersized. And then you got some kid coming to Georgia that has way more tools than he does, and like the King just said, is flapping his gums about money or whatever. I don't see any former player, unless they just recently hung it up, having the patience for that.
Something else to deal with that's just not football related, and it's just, I don't know.
Well, I'm jumping a tangent here, surprise, surprise, but that's like Ted Williams was a horrible baseball manager for the Washington Senators for that exact reason. And you see a lot of former players.
Right.
I just think Ted Williams he's the GOAT for Major League Baseball. And he was a horrible coach just because he did not, it's not like he couldn't teach a dude how to hit. It was he did not have the patience to do it, or I don't want to say the patience to do it, but the patience to let somebody develop.
When you play a sport at such a high level, sometimes it's hard to understand why they aren't able to do it.
Yeah.
I get that in my coaching.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to end the episode with a trivia question. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sheriff.
Hold on. The James Coley's from, he was 2019 LSU, am I?
No, he was Georgia till 2020. Texas A&M hired him away. He was Georgia. He was offensive coordinator at Georgia, then a wide receivers coach at Georgia.
Was he on the Mega Cast with Jimbo then? Is that where I'm thinking?
He was at Texas A&M with him, and he left and went to.
That was a pretty cool Mega Cast. I know we talked about it. I can't remember off air or on air, but they had almost the entire, or I would say the notable names, so maybe 20 to 25 coaches in a room watching the 2021 Georgia-Alabama game, and kind of in real time breaking down the tape. And it was, I know I watched it 2 or 3 times over, but I think he must have been in that, but he's, like you said, fabulous recruiter.
All right, we're going to end it on a trivia question from the special agent. And I'm going to bow out. I will go ahead and say I did not know the answer to this question. I don't know why she asked us a trivia question.
Okay.
Thank you, special agent.
Well,
Appreciate it. So there's only one city in the U.S. that has all 4 major sports, but has not won a championship in any of them since the start of this century. Got any idea who it is? I did not. I went through and racked my brain, and so this would be 4 major sports.
So that
baseball,
includes hockey.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and so that threw a little wrench in it for me.
So we're at baseball.
From the year 2000.
That's what it says, this century, and when I found out the answer, I was like, yeah, that's correct, because
So
they would
baseball,
have
basketball,
won
football,
one in the
And
90s.
hockey. Baseball, basketball, football, hockey.
Yeah.
I think I got an answer, but I'm gonna let the king go first. You said baseball, football,
Basketball and hockey.
basketball, and hockey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I
Yeah, I
like
got
said,
it.
okay.
Is it
Go
Dallas?
ahead, King. Ooh.
No, the Mavericks. The Mavericks
Correct.
won.
No,
Correct.
it's not Dallas.
All
God, I want to.
My answer. Go ahead, King.
Oh, man,
I got.
football, basketball.
I got.
I don't know. I don't know the hockey teams. That's my
The
problem.
problem is that they won I was wanting to say Arizona, but they won a baseball. They won the
Yep.
World
They
Series
did in
2001.
Yeah.
and 01.
We'll go. All right, I'm throwing my answer out
Go
there.
ahead.
Detroit.
That would be incorrect.
No, the Tigers have. I thought the Tigers had
Yeah,
won.
that
one.
was the one.
No, they didn't win one, but they've been to 2.
Yeah, Maglio Ordonez. Did they not win one?
What did they win? Did the Red Wings win something? I guess.
Yeah, the Red Wings.
But I thought that was '99 with Steve Weiserman.
Okay.
That was
Okay,
a good
give us a geographical
It
location.
is. You are in the right area of the United States.
Okay,
With
out
Detroit.
west.
No.
Oh,
With
okay.
Detroit, you were in the right
Yeah,
area.
because I was thinking Red Wings, Tigers, Pistons,
Minnesota?
and
There you go.
Minnesota.
okay, Timberwolves.
Yeah, haven't won one.
Timberwolves,
The Twins won in the
Twins.
90s.
Wait, what was the question?
4 major sports in one city.
Minnesota,
and
way
don't
to
have
go.
a major
Minnesota.
one.
Minnesota's a state.
Well, Minneapolis, I'm sorry.
Oh well, hey,
Sorry.
hey, no. If the question is what city, and y'all are naming states now, come on.
Okay, I was.
Was that on the host or on the question?
That was on the host.
This
because
man's been
it's
hanging around Jay
Minneapolis.
Valley too much.
That's where the Twins are.
Swola Valley.
That's where the Timberwolves are. That's where the Vikings are.
And the
then
Wild, the Minnesota Wild.
Okay.
They used to be the Dallas Stars. They're the
Okay.
Minnesota Wild now.
Okay,
Yes.
there you go.
And I was thinking Detroit was Pistons, Red Wings, Tigers, and who am I missing? The Lions.
Yeah.
The brand new Lions.
There you go.
But who had won? You said the Tigers had won.
I thought.
in the
Oh, he said the
2000s?
Red Wings. The Red Wings must have won.
So what year did the Pistons win?
That might be it.
I
Yeah,
think the
you
Pistons,
could definitely
the
get me
Pistons
on
won
basketball.
in the early 2000s, I believe, when they had
Was Doc Rivers
those
the
people.
coach?
They had Ben Wallace. they had,
Oh, the fighters. That's what he's talking about. Those people, the fighters.
Malice at the
Yeah,
Palace
Malice
or
at the
whatever.
Palace. Was that when they won?
No,
No,
I
it
can't.
Because they had
Actually, it
Rip
was.
Hamilton.
yeah, Rip Hamilton was a big piece of that.
Yeah,
I actually
good
watched
shooter.
the documentary on the Malice in the Palace. A real
That's a
apologetic
good one.
piece that they didn't really go into very hard on the players. The players got to talk about how they were victims. So,
Yeah.
Okay, but there are some. That's the 30 for 30 you're talking about.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
there are some fabulous lines
Yeah.
about a 5'5" white guy in the
Yeah.
stands, seeing Ben Wallace come at him, and I think they interview several of the fans, and it
They
is.
did.
Well,
They were not thinking it through. Let's just say
Yeah.
that.
speaking of 30 for 30, and going back to my partner's question,
Oh, the wrestlers.
if you hadn't seen the one on Ric Flair, you
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
watch
Oh,
it.
yeah.
For sure. It is, oh my God, it is the best.
Legendary.
He's coming out with another documentary too. As well.
He should. He's lived a couple
I
lifetimes.
have
think.
2004 was when the Pistons won.
There you
I
go.
don't know
So-
when the Malice. I think. Are you looking up Malice at the Palace?
I am not.
The Nature Boy documentary is fabulous.
It is.
And he gives some information that I don't think's been heard.
Yeah.
Some body counts and what have you, and it will blow the imagination. Malice at the Palace was November 19th, 2004.
Well, it was after their championship.
Well, and
Killer Instinct.
the
was-
Red Wings have won it in 2002 and 2008.
There we go, man.
Yeah,
Stats are flying now. So,
I had the Red Wing team. I just had them a few years earlier than, because in '99 they had a really good squad too.
No Kirby Puckett.
R.I.P.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. King, do you feel like we've buried the hatchet?
We have buried the hatchet. There's one other person that
Yeah, we gotta.
is gonna have to come face to face with me at some point, and when he does, we'll see how that goes.
All right.
On the mic or just in society at large?
Well, we're gonna keep this one off camera. It might there's a possibility it could get a little out of hand.
Just that he didn't let you know, or the whole thing?
Well, he didn't let me know, and I can say, man, I don't know if I'd have felt comfortable coming up here without him until he did it to me. So
There you go.
There you go. Hopefully we can repair it so the greatest tag team that never was can continue their undefeated streak.
I was gonna kick off into I know we're joking around and this is terrible timing, but it's me. I was gonna kick into a moment of silence when I said R.I.P.
That's fine. We're wrapping up. So
Another gentleman that's in the dog business with me lost his partner from cancer this afternoon. So just wanted to
A dog, yeah, and lost his dog.
lost his canine partner.
not that any less sad. Just want to let everybody know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we sorry, I said dog business. I did not clarify. Thank you, Pack.
Yes.
I'm trying to talk in enough code because he doesn't want anything to be on blast, but I'm just want everybody to be thinking about him because it is not the same as a human, but I would say from a handler's perspective, it's pretty damn close.
Yeah. It's with you every day, all day.
Unless I'm on vacation trying to tear my ACLs in North Carolina, he's with me, and just wanted to give him a little moment.
And there it was. All right.
Moment of silence has been had.
There we go. All right. Well, King, I do appreciate you coming on and clearing the air. Take that koozie with you as part of your payment for your voice. It's going to be used forever from here on out.
We got to give him $600 and some kind of copy or something.
We gave him a copy of the koozie, and
We'll give him the $600 and 100 payments of 60 cents.
when we make our first $1, we'll give him a penny of it. So.
That's it.
remember, if you dream of mufflers, you might wake up exhausted.
All right. We're getting out of here. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks for listening. And take it easy.